we have decided to move in a different direction. I mean, is there a more frustrating sentence in the English language?
I don't think so. Is the corporate version of "it's not you, it's me."
Right. Except they don't even buy you a coffee while they're breaking your heart.
And, unlike a real breakup, where you usually have some idea why things went south, a job rejection is just this black box.
Oh, completely. You walk out of an interview thinking you absolutely nailed it.
Totally. The rapport was great. The hiring manager laughed at your jokes. He had the perfect answer for the greatest weakness question.
And then crickets. Or just that one-line template email.
And that's the part that makes you spiral. Silence. You just replay every single moment.
Did I talk too much? Was my handshake a little clammy?
Oh my God, did I have something in my teeth?
Exactly. Or, and I think this is where we're going today, was the game kind of rigged from the start?
Well, that's what the data suggests. We've pulled together a huge stack of research for this deep dive. We're talking stuff from Indeed, Dice, Nichito, insights from staffing agencies like Davron, and some pretty serious psychological studies, too.
And the picture they paint is, well, it's complicated. It turns out the reason you didn't get that job might have almost nothing to do with your
It
skill.
really might not.
So that's our mission today. We're going to decode that different direction. We'll look at the obvious stuff, sure, but I really want to dig into the hidden mechanics, the psychological biases, and frankly, the just plain unfair reasons that have zero to do with your resume.
It really ranges from the structural, so how companies are literally set up, to the deeply personal and psychological.
Okay, let's start with the stuff that honestly makes me the angriest, the structural things. I read this piece from Dice about the internal candidate, and I almost threw my laptop.
I know the one.
It sounds like sometimes you're walking into an interview that's basically a play, a performance, and you're the only one who doesn't have the script.
That's a harsh way to put it, but it's not wrong. It's a tough reality. A company often already has someone in mind for the role.
So, like a promotion for somebody already on the team?
A promotion, a lateral move, yeah. But because of HR policies, or maybe a manager just wanting to see what's out there,
To benchmark their favorite person.
exactly, they have to post the job publicly.
So you spend, what, 3 hours tailoring your resume, writing a cover letter, taking time off work, and you're just there to help them confirm they like the person they already knew.
You're essentially part of a focus group you never consented to be in. The DICE analysis points out that being an external candidate in that situation is, well, it's incredibly difficult.
I bet.
I mean, think about it from the manager's perspective. The internal candidate is a known quantity. They know their work style, they know they fit the culture, and this is crucial, they're cheaper.
Right. No recruitment fees, no long onboarding process.
So the external candidate,
I-
you're a risk, you're a gamble.
The internal hire is the safe bet.
And in big corporate structures, the safe bet almost always wins.
That makes sense, but it still just feels, I don't know, unethical to waste people's time like that. But okay, let's say there isn't an internal person. I've gotten those emails that say something like, after a comprehensive search, we've selected a candidate who most closely meets our current needs.
Ah, yes.
But I'm looking at the job description, and I met all the needs.
Welcome to the moving goalposts phenomenon. This is really common. DICE points this out often. A hiring manager doesn't actually know what they want until they start interviewing.
So the job description is just a wish list.
It's a starting point. But then they meet candidate A, who has this certification they hadn't thought about, or candidate B, who has experience with a different kind of software.
And suddenly, the job in their head changes, but the ad on the website is still the same.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
The criteria morphs during the process. So by the time you come in for your interview, they're measuring you against the yardstick that didn't even exist when you applied.
So you're not getting rejected for the job you applied for. You're getting rejected because the job turned into something else.
Something else entirely. It's chaotic.
It really suggests a lot of hiring is just people flying by the seat of their pants.
It often
Yeah.
is. And that goes for timing and budget, too.
Yeah.
We saw this in the Incheeto and Indeed sources. Sometimes when they say the position has been closed, they're not lying.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Management changes, budgets get frozen mid-quarter, a project gets killed. You could be the absolute perfect candidate, but if the funding for your role disappears the day after your interview, you still get the rejection email.
Or they just needed to hire someone, like yesterday.
Speed is a huge factor. If they have a project that's on fire and they need a body to start Monday, and you're perfect, but your background check takes 2 weeks, but another candidate is just good enough and can start tomorrow.
Good enough wins.
Good enough wins.
Okay, so that's all the it's not you, it's them stuff. And I mean, That's comforting in a way, to know it might just be bad luck or bad management, but it's also kind of disempowering. You can't fix a hiring freeze.
Right.
But surely we can't blame everything on the system. There have to be times where, it actually was us.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where we have to get really honest with ourselves. There are performance issues and behavioral tells that we drop without even realizing it.
The one that always comes up is culture fit. Feels like such a cop-out.
It is a catch-all, but it is rooted in something real. Indeed talks about this as a mismatch in work style. So let's say you're a really independent, creative thinker. You need autonomy.
Okay.
If you apply to a company that's highly regulated, very hierarchical, where every email needs 3 approvals,
Yeah.
you're going to be miserable there.
So a good interviewer is actually doing me a favor by rejecting me.
In theory, yes. There's spotting that you would probably quit in 6 months anyway. But, and this is a huge but culture fit is also often weaponized.
How so?
My career GPS points out that not a culture fit can be code for you aren't like us.
Ah.
It can mask things like ageism. If a startup is full of 25-year-olds who play ping pong and work till midnight, they might reject a 45-year-old parent. Not because they can't do the job, but because they assume they won't, vibe with the team.
That gets right into the bias territory we need to talk about. But sticking with these logical reasons for a second, what about being overqualified? I've never understood this. If I'm selling you a Ferrari for the price of a Ford, why say no?
Because they think that Ferrari is going to speed off the lot the moment a better racetrack opens up.
Ah, okay.
And Shido says the main fear is retention. They just assume you'll get bored or that you're just parking here until a better paying job comes along.
So they're just afraid I'll leave.
That's the generous interpretation.
Yeah.
Dice offers a darker one, which I find fascinating.
Oh.
Intimidation.
The manager is scared of the candidate.
Think about it. If you're a middle manager, maybe a little insecure in your job, and you interview someone who has done your job before,
Yeah.
or who just has way more experience than you, that feels like a threat.
They might think you'll be hard to manage.
Or worse, that you're coming for their job.
Wow. So in that case, your actual competence becomes a liability because of someone else's ego.
Insecurity is a massive unspoken driver in hiring. People hire people who make them look good, not people who make them look replaceable.
That is deeply depressing. Okay, let's talk about the unforced errors, the silent killers, the things we do in the room that just make a hiring manager cringe.
Right, the behavioral stuff. Indeed. And my career GPS list, a few big ones. First, it's just boundaries.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed how many people treat an interview like a therapy session.
So tell me about yourself, and you say, well, my divorce just finalized.
Exactly that. Oversharing personal drama just implies you don't know where the professional line is. If you're messy in the interview, they assume you'll be messy in the office.
Okay, that seems like common sense, but I guess nerves can make people ramble. What about enthusiasm? I've heard you can actually play it too cool.
You absolutely can. Low energy, bad body language, that's a killer. If you have 2 candidates with equal skills, but one is leaning forward and seems genuinely excited, and the other is leaning back, looking detached.
The excited one gets the job.
Every time. Employers want to be wanted.
It's like dating again. You can't play hard to get.
Not in this market, no.
Yeah.
And related to that is just listening. Talking your way out of a job is a real thing. Or not following simple instructions. If the email says, please bring 3 copies of your resume, and you bring 0, that's not just a mistake. It's a data point. It tells them you lack attention to detail.
Okay, so don't be a robot, don't be a therapist, and follow instructions. We can control those things. But now I want to get into the murky stuff. The part that makes you question how fair the world really is. The darker side.
This is where we leave logic at the door. Because hiring managers are human, and humans are, well, irrational and biased. My career GPS had this incredible, infuriating example of what they call trivial reasons.
Okay.
A manager rejected a candidate just because she had visible roots from dyed hair.
Wait, what? Like her hair dye was growing out, that was the reason.
That was the entire reason. The manager's justification was that it showed a lack of attention to detail.
That's insane. That's not attention to detail. That's just a human body growing hair.
It's completely irrational. But it happens. People have these pet peeves. Maybe they hate the way you laugh or they don't like your shoes. It's unfair, but it's part of the game.
But that's conscious pettiness. What scares me more is the stuff that's happening below the surface. The implicit bias.
Right. This is the really heavy stuff. We looked at the data on implicit stereotypes. These are the unconscious associations that influence our judgment, even in people who truly believe they're being fair.
So the interviewer might not even know they're doing it.
Correct. Look at the famous resume studies. Researchers sent out thousands of identical resumes. Same skills, same education, everything the same. The only difference was the name at the top.
Okay.
Resumes with white-sounding names, like Emily or Greg, got significantly more callbacks than identical resumes with black-sounding names, like Lakeisha or Jamal.
So before you even walk in the room, the deck is stacked against you just because of the header on your PDF.
It's a huge barrier. And it's not just race. There's a strong implicit association in STEM fields that links male with science and math and female with arts and language.
Which means a woman applying for an engineering job is fighting her interviewer's subconscious just to be seen as competent.
She has to prove she belongs there in a way a male candidate just doesn't. And it extends elsewhere, too. Adultification bias is heartbreaking. One study shows black boys are often perceived as older and less innocent than white boys of the same age.
And in a hiring context for, say, an entry-level role.
Right. It can affect how coachable or eager a young black candidate seems to an interviewer.
And I saw weight bias in the notes, too.
Yes. There's a deep implicit stereotype that associates obesity with words like lazy or incompetent. A highly qualified candidate might be passed over simply because an interviewer's brain makes a split-second, totally unfair connection based on their body size.
It's just overwhelming to think about. And then you add in the similarity bias on top of all that, the idea that we just like people who are like us.
It's in-group favoritism. If I interview someone who went to my college or plays the same sport or just seems like they come from a similar background, my brain gets a little dopamine hit. I feel comfortable. I'm more likely to overlook their flaws.
Whereas someone from a different background doesn't get that benefit of the doubt.
Exactly. And that's often what's really happening when a manager says, I had a better feeling about the other candidate. That feeling is often just narcissism disguised as intuition. They hired the person who reminded them of themselves.
Okay. I feel sufficiently cynical now. So the job might not have been real, the manager might be insecure, and their subconscious brain might be rooting against me. It feels completely powerless. But we promised a recovery plan. We have to give people something to fight back with.
We do. And it starts with something that sounds, I know, dangerously old-fashioned. But the data on this is just undeniable.
What is it?
The thank you note.
In this day and age, it feels a bit, I don't know, desperate. Like, please, sir, may I have some more?
I know, it feels antiquated.
Oh.
But look at these stats from Davron. 80% of hiring managers say thank you notes influence their final decision.
88. 0. That's massive.
68% of recruiters say it matters. And get this, 16% of recruiters have dismissed a candidate they liked entirely just because they didn't send one.
Wow. So it's actually a disqualifier. If you don't do it, you could be out.
For some people, yes, it's a test of follow-through. But here is why it's a weapon, not just a chore. Only 24% of candidates actually send them.
Wait, what? So 3/4 of people are just ghosting them after the interview?
Pretty much. So if you send a thoughtful note, not some generic thanks for your time, but a strategic email that mentions something specific you talked about, that reiterates your interest, you immediately separate yourself from 76% of the competition.
It's the easiest possible way to stand out. It's free real estate in their inbox.
Exactly. It's not about being polite. It's about sales. It's your closing argument.
I'm sold. Send the note. But okay, what about when you get the no anyway? Can we decode that corporate speak? Because we'll keep your resume on file. Sounds nice, but I suspect it's a lie.
It's almost always polite code for please don't apply again. Unless you truly had an amazing connection and it was just a headcount thing, don't hold your breath.
What about we're meeting with additional candidates?
That one translates to, you were okay, you didn't knock our socks off, but we haven't rejected you yet because we're afraid we won't find anyone better.
You're the backup plan.
You're the backup plan.
Nobody wants that. Okay, final Hail Mary. Is there ever a time you can ask for a second chance? Like, hey, I know you said no, but you're wrong.
It's extremely risky. If you just email saying, I'm perfect for the job, you sound delusional. But Indeed does suggest one very specific scenario where it's valid.
Okay.
If your interview went terribly wrong because of a verifiable external disaster,
Like what?
like you were really sick but tried to power through, or you had a childcare emergency 2 minutes before the call.
Huh?
Or you were an hour late because of a huge car accident on the freeway.
A genuine mitigating
Right.
circumstance.
In that one case, you can email, explain it concisely. I apologize for being off my game. I was dealing with X, and ask for a do-over. The worst they can say is no, which they already did.
And you have nothing to lose at that point. That's fair. But I guess ultimately dealing with rejection comes down to mindset. And I don't mean that in a cheesy live, laugh, love kind of way.
No, in a practical way.
Yeah.
You have to adopt what w.r.a.c and Indeed call a growth mindset.
Hmm.
You have to distinguish between the variables you can control and the ones you can't.
If you didn't prepare, that's on you. Fix it. If you wore sweatpants to a bank interview.
That's on you. Fix it.
But if they hired the internal candidate,
Not on you.
if the manager has a weird bias against introverts,
Not on you. You have to treat rejection as data. Sometimes the data says improve your interview answers. And sometimes the data just says system error.
it's about separating your self-worth from the outcome, which is so hard when you need a paycheck, but it's essential for staying sane.
And just remember the hair roots lady. Seriously, think about that. If a manager is so petty, so judgmental, that they would reject a qualified person because of their hair, imagine working for that
And
person.
it would be a total nightmare. You'd be walking on eggshells every single day.
Exactly. So that rejection, that wasn't a loss. It was a filter. And if you do have an interview or a big career moment coming up and you feel like you need some tactical one-on-one support for these high-pressure situations, w.r.a.c Career Services offers comprehensive interview performance coaching. It's designed specifically for these challenges.
You can visit our website for more details on how we can help you turn that nervous energy into a really sharp focus. Which I think brings us to the final thought we should leave everyone with. When that email hits your inbox and you get that pit in your stomach, just ask yourself, did I miss out on a dream job? Or did I just dodge a bullet?
Because sometimes rejection is actually protection.
We'll leave it there. Keep your head up, send that thank you note, and don't let the system grind you down. Thanks for listening.